Yes, thank you. Give us a couple minutes, please. We are starting our stream, and then I'll go ahead and start sharing.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so it's loading, and once it's done, I'm gonna begin.
All right. Okay.
Okay, hello everybody, people from Facebook and people who are joining in via Zoom. Thank you for joining us. This is Education USA Bolivia. Voy a presentar brevemente en español. Muchas gracias por estar aquí a los presentes. Voy a presentar a nuestros invitados. Hoy tenemos a Zachary y Oscar de Walsh University. Y les invito a los participantes tanto a respetar, poniendo sus micrófonos apagados mientras está en la presentación. Si tienen preguntas, pueden ir escribiéndolas y al final de la presentación vamos a tener un espacio para responder estas preguntas específicas. La presentación va a ser en inglés y en español. So please pay attention, and I just want to welcome again Zachary and Oscar, who will be sharing with us today. Oscar is from La Paz, Bolivia, and so we are happy as Education USA Bolivia to have his experience being shared here. So let me have Zachary go ahead and start this presentation.
All right. Hello, everybody. I am so happy that you guys are here. Today, we're going to talk about Walsh University. And Walsh University is a small private U.S. university. I want to give you guys a look at what a small private school in the U.S. is like. And I also want to talk about why attending a small private school can be maybe a better idea than attending a big, large school. So we'll talk about that today. And Oscar, he will have an opportunity to talk to you all in Spanish about his experience. And we will also have an opportunity to, you guys will have an opportunity to answer, ask questions, and we will be able to answer those for you. All right, so let's get started. Okay, so before we really get into it, I want to just introduce everybody to me. So my name is Zachary Basil, and I am the Assistant Director of International Admissions at Walsh University. In 2014, I graduated from a small private university, not Walsh University, but very, very similar to that. I graduated with a degree in political science and international relations. From 2015 to 2020, I spent 5 years of my life in China. In China, I taught at various international high schools. So I worked with a lot of students who are doing what you guys are trying to do right now, come to America and continue your education. So I really, really love that. And I know how difficult of a time it might be for you guys to make that decision, but I know how important it is. So I'm loving to give you guys some ideas about that and help you guys out. I joined Walsh University just a few months ago, so I'm brand new, but I love it here already. My contact information is at the bottom. I do use WhatsApp. I have an email and phone number. If anybody has any kind of questions during the presentation and they don't want to ask them during the presentation or after it, you can always send me an email or send me a message on WhatsApp, and I will share that contact information with everybody again at the end of the presentation. Okay. All right, so presentation agenda, advantages of attending a small private U.S. university. Student perspective. So Oscar Ortega will talk. Family perspective. I'll talk about the family perspective of attending Walsh University. Walsh University, a snapshot or a picture of Walsh University. I will share some pictures, some videos, so you can have an idea of what a campus, what it looks like. And then questions and answers with Zach and Oscar. Okay. So let's talk about some fast facts about small private universities. Number one, this is a big one for you guys. More scholarships and grants for international students. So private universities in the United States, they're able to offer more scholarships and grants to international students than public universities in the United States. And that is because we do not get as much government money. So we have more scholarships and grants available. So it's something you can look into. At Walsh University, for example, our international students get an average of 18 to 20,000 US dollars in scholarship money. Obviously, smaller class sizes. So if you go to a small private university, you're going to have a smaller class size. What this means is you're going to have more attention from your teacher, and especially for those who are still learning English and still developing their English skills. If you're in a smaller classroom, you will be able to understand better because you'll be able to stop the teacher and ask for questions, for help, and all of that kind of good stuff that you might not be able to do at a large school in a large classroom that has maybe 100 students in a big room. It can be very difficult to maybe understand what's happening in your second language, in English. So smaller class sizes, teachers can help you more and prepare you more. Walsh University, for example, has an average class size of 13 to 1. So lots of personal attention. Close family community. So when you attend a small school, everybody kind of gets to know each other. So if you're from a smaller city or you went to a smaller high school, you might like continuing that and going to a small private university because you're going to be, not a number. You're going to really matter because, everybody's going to get to know you. It's going to be like family. And then many small private universities, they use what's called liberal arts. And liberal arts basically means that instead of just focusing on one subject or academic area, we give you the opportunity to develop other parts of your education. So you might come to Walsh University and you want to study science, but you might get an opportunity to take a government class or a business class or a music class or a religion class. And then you might discover some new things that you like, and you'll be able to maybe get a more full, well-rounded education. Okay. Many schools have a religious connection, and it can better reflect your values. So public universities don't have this, but smaller private universities, many of them are connected to a religion. So if you're a religious person, you might want to look at private small universities because you might find a university that shares your religion. So for example, Walsh University, we're Catholic. So although we accept students from all different, religions and backgrounds, we do have a significant amount of students who are Catholic, and it's something that is a part of our education at Walsh. So if you're somebody who believes in, this kind of religion, it could be something to look into. All right. So next, I'm going to let Oscar talk about his perspective of, why he chose Walsh. What does he think about small schools? And I'm going to have Oscar speak in Spanish to give you a break, because I know it's got to be, difficult having to take so much English in all at once. So Oscar, if you would like to take over and share your experiences,
Yep.
go at it.
Thanks, Zach. Buenas tardes a todos. Me llamo Oscar. Soy un alumno de tercer año aquí en Walsh. Mi carrera es Business Management, que es el equivalente más o menos a Administración de Empresas, y con una doble titulación al mismo tiempo en Finanzas. Yo llegué aquí el año del 2018, en agosto, y me gustó mucho por el hecho de que era tan chica la universidad, porque uno recibe mucha ayuda. Uno recibe mucha ayuda de parte de la universidad cuando se viene, cuando uno llega en términos de acomodarse, de mudarse, y en todo lo que viene los planes antes de venir. Yo tenía varios compañeros que fueron a universidades mucho más grandes, y yo mismo apliqué a universidades más grandes en las que aplicaba, y toda mi comunicación era con robots o computadoras que me mandaban respuestas computarizadas, y eso no ocurrió aquí en Walsh. En ese momento tenía la ayuda de la persona que estaba aquí previamente, a Zach, que me ayudó a aplicar, me ayudó a ver todo lo que tenía que ver con el lado de finanzas, todo con los viajes, especialmente para una familia como la mía, que nadie había salido a estudiar de antemano. No era algo con lo que teníamos mucha experiencia. Así que eso fue una de las cosas que me gustó de Walsh poco antes de venir y hasta cuando llegué. Y una vez que se está aquí, se recibe mucha ayuda. Es una universidad bastante pequeña. Las clases promedian, como dijo Zach, de 13 alumnos. Yo tenía unas máximas con 20. Y eso significa que los profesores, los catedráticos, los van a llegar a conocer. Y eso es algo súper importante. Yo hasta ahorita tengo relaciones muy, muy fuertes con mis profesores, que me están ayudando a conseguir entrevistas a la larga, me están ayudando a participar en competencias, y en sí volverme un mejor profesional, más allá de todo lo que viene, lo académico. Me ayudan mucho en lo que es fuera de lo académico. Así que, bueno, para no tomar mucho más de su tiempo, y si tienen otras preguntas ya me las pueden hacer un poco después, pero Zach, right back to you. I said all I needed to say, I think, for now.
All right, Oscar, thank you so much. I'm sure some of our listeners here today will want to ask some more questions about your experience after we finish. But yeah, thank you again so much. That's awesome. So let's go ahead and continue. Okay. So then, what about the family perspective of maybe attending a smaller school, smaller campus? So we actually have 3 students from Bolivia, actually all from the same family. They decided they wanted to come here together. And a few of the things they loved was they loved the small campus size. They believe having a small campus size, small classrooms, it really helped all of them succeed and find success at Walsh University. They also loved the application process because unlike maybe some bigger, more elite institutions, we kind of look at many different things when it comes to the application process, and we try to make it easier. And they definitely loved that because it made it easier for them to get scholarships, and also it made it easier for them to get accepted. So they loved that process. So that's another thing that is similar at many small private universities like Walsh University. Okay. So yeah, as we've kind of talked about, so now we're going to kind of dive into a little bit more about, what does Walsh look like? What does this private school look like that we're looking at today? So it's a small Catholic liberal arts and sciences institution, 2,700 students. So that's pretty average for a small private school in the US, about 2,000 to 3,000 students. That's pretty normal. Some of the larger public schools like Ohio State, for example, if you've heard of them, they have 60,000 students. So smaller schools may have like 2,000 to 3,000, but it does not mean that they don't have international students. So our small school, we have about 135 international students, and they're actually coming from 35 different countries. So we have students from Bolivia, your country, but we also have students from other countries like Saudi Arabia, or countries in Africa like Ethiopia or Nigeria, Mexico maybe. We have students from many different parts of the world, okay? And smaller schools, believe it or not, even though they're smaller, they're still able to offer a lot of different academic programs. We have over 100 different academic programs. So just because we're small doesn't mean we don't have what you want to study. Same thing with student clubs and fun activities and student groups, organizations. We still have many of those, even though we're a small school. And this is the same at many small schools that you'll find in the United States. So again, something to look into. Okay, some fast facts about Walsh. 100% of our students, of our international students, do receive scholarships and grants. So if you apply to Walsh, and this is the same for many small schools, you will have an opportunity at getting scholarships and grants. Okay. At Walsh, 100% of students receive an internship opportunity. So an internship is working while you're learning. So all of our students, before they graduate, they will have worked at an American company. So, even international students, every international student, even Oscar, Oscar has had internship experiences, and he has worked jobs in America. That's really, really cool because now his resume is looking really good. So whatever he decides to do in the future, he's going to have an easier time to get a job. So this is something that smaller schools like to promote. In Walsh University, we especially love to promote internships and helping our students find a good job after they graduate. And speaking of that, believe it or not, 76% of students that have an internship at Walsh, they receive a job offer from their internship. So not only do you get an internship opportunity, you have a really, really good chance of that internship opportunity turning into a job, a real job. Okay. And then something that we like to guarantee, and many other small schools do as well, we like to guarantee a job or graduate school or a service position within 6 months of graduation. And if for some reason you don't find a job, then we will hire somebody to help you find a job. That's how much we really, really want you to succeed. Okay. And then we also have a 4-year graduation promise for all first-year students. So you will graduate in 4 years if you come to Walsh. We will make sure that happens. And if it doesn't happen for some weird reason, but you're still doing good in school, we'll actually pay for any additional years. And this kind of program is common at other small schools too. Walsh University, like I was talking about earlier, even though we're small, it doesn't mean that we don't have people everywhere that are connected to us. We have 14,000 graduates, alumni, worldwide, all over, who can help you with your experience when you come to study. Okay, so Walsh University is located in North Canton, Ohio. North Canton, Ohio, Oscar, I think North Canton is what's the weather compared to Bolivia? I don't, do you know?
Well, La Paz, I mean, there's nothing that compares to North Canton, Ohio. Like the snow that we have outside, you're only going to see it like in some of the mountainy areas, but really if you're leaving the city, and even in the cities that it does snow and does get cold, it doesn't get as cold as we are right now. In the summer, our weather is very much like in between. In terms of cities in Bolivia, maybe that's between the city of Cochabamba and Santa Cruz. So it's not as hot as the city of Santa Cruz, not as temperate as the city of Cochabamba. So that's in the summer, and in the winter, I just can't compare it. It's cold.
Very cold in Ohio, but
I like the snow though.
Snow, yeah. A lot of snow here sometimes.
I might go skiing this weekend, so.
Okay, yes. So a lot of snow in Ohio. North Canton, it's a smaller city. It has about 90,000 people living in and around the city. But it was ranked one of the top 50 cities in the US to live in, and also one of the safest. So many smaller private universities in the US, they're gonna also be in small cities, not in big cities. So if you're somebody who's worried about safety, many people are afraid of, guns in America and in violence and things like that. Well, if you're afraid of those kind of things, sometimes smaller schools might be a better choice for you because they're oftentimes in safer communities in smaller cities. So Walsh University is in one of the safest cities in the US. So I think this is really, really good for many international students and especially your parents and family who might worry about your safety when you come to the US. There are over 100 restaurants in the area, lots of good food to choose from. Okay. Shopping malls. There's a grocery store and a bank right next to campus. Very, very convenient for you. We're 10 minutes to the airport. So if you need to go home to see mom and dad, go back to Bolivia, you're right there next to the airport. Same thing with your family if they want to come visit you, right next to the airport. So that's really, really nice. Okay, 1 hour drive to a bigger city in Ohio called Cleveland, where we have many professional sports teams like American football and baseball and basketball. So that's always fun to do on the weekend. Okay, here's a little picture of where all of our previous international students and current international students, where they come from. So like I talked about earlier, even though we're a small school, smaller schools still have people from all over the world. Even though smaller schools might only have 2,000 students, they still find a way to bring in students from all over the world, and Walsh University is no different. I think you can see Bolivia. This is Bolivia down here, right there. So you can see that. All right. So the next thing is I want to show you guys a video of what the campus looks like. So I'm going to try to share this video. I think I have to stop sharing my screen and I have to choose the sound. So if you guys want to take a little small break and think of some questions while I stop sharing the screen so I can turn the sound on so we can watch the little video, go ahead and start thinking of some questions if you want.
Sí, pueden preguntarlas, hacerles las preguntas mientras Zachary va cargando el tema de el video, pero como les digo, pueden iniciar haciendo las preguntas en el chat. Para los que nos están viendo en Facebook, también pueden escribirlas. Yo estoy atenta para poder compartirlas y comentándoles que la posición de Ohio en los Estados Unidos es también bien ideal si les interesa visitar algunas ciudades, algunos lugares. No está lejos de la costa este, está cerca de Boston, Nueva York. Podrían hacer viajes a esas ciudades, ¿no? En diferentes medios, ¿no? Entonces, o sea, una de las oportunidades que se tiene cuando se va al extranjero es poder no solo visitar la ciudad en la que estudia, sino visitar alrededor, ¿no? Y entre amigos siempre se logra, ¿no? Oscar lo sabe, yo he estudiado igual en el área de Nueva Inglaterra, entonces es un área muy linda, muy distinta, aunque haya mucha nieve para visitar. Okay, Zachary, are we ready?
Sorry, my microphone was muted. We are loading the video. So here we go. All right. So that's a little look at what the campus looks like. You'll notice that it looks like it's in a smaller area. So this is maybe how many smaller private schools, what it might look like. Lots of space, bigger campuses, and normally in a smaller city environment. Okay, so let's take a quick look at some pictures around campus so that you can take a look at what some of the different campus buildings might look like. So this is a campus center. This is something that's common at many universities, and this kind of campus center thing is where students can go to eat at the cafeteria. They have all of their services here. If they need help with anything, they can go here and talk to who they need to talk to. International student services, bookstores, picking up packages from the mail, using the ATM for the bank, and lots of other things there to do. Okay. This is our Barrett Business Center. This is where you would go if you studied business. There are lots of interesting things to do here. There's a cafe where you can pick up some food. There's lots of interactive, fun type classrooms and other kinds of things that you can do if you're going to study business. And then this is a look at what our Sciences Center looks like. We have lots of biology and chemistry laboratories. So if you study science, this might be where you will spend a lot of your time. This is our Center for Science Innovation. We have a lot of stuff related to the medical field here. So if you're interested in becoming a doctor, you could study pre-med, or if you're interested in nursing or something else related to healthcare, this might be an area that you could have some classes in or be able to actually participate in some research. Okay, this is where our library's at. So if you're a student here and you're somebody who's wanting to be a really good student, you're probably going to spend a lot of time in the library. You'll become really familiar with the library, probably study there a lot. This person on the right, he is our new college president. So he runs the entire school. He comes from Johns Hopkins University. He's a very, very fun guy, very exciting, has a lot of energy, new. He's bringing a lot of good ideas to Walsh. So very cool college president. Okay. We also have an art center on campus. So this would be where you might go if you're interested in studying in the arts. So in music or painting or visual art, band or choir, something like that. This could be where you spend some time. Okay. And then our newest building on campus is our Global Learning Center. And here we have a lot of new type of classrooms with new technology. We have podcast studios. So if you want to become a YouTube star, you have an opportunity to use those studios to record videos, professional type videos and things like that. There's also another little restaurant in there where you can get coffee or pastries, salad, sandwiches. And we also have a lot of classroom rooms in there rather, as well as career services. So if you're looking to get help with a career or a future job or interviewing, you can go there too. Okay. And then if you wanted to take a closer look at Walsh, we have a virtual visit. So you can go on our website and you can find the virtual tour link and you can tour campus. They do have a Spanish option. So if you want to share with your family, if they don't speak English, you can share this video with them and the tour guide, the virtual tour guide, will speak to you in Spanish. So that's really cool. Okay, and And as I mentioned earlier, even though we are a smaller school, like many smaller schools, we still have many, many academic programs for you to choose from. So don't be afraid that we would not have what you want to study. We have lots of the popular majors such as business management or graphic design. We also have pre-engineering programs. We have some new things like esports and gaming management, cybersecurity. So a lot of good types of majors that you might be interested in studying. Okay. And then another thing that we try to do at Walsh University, and something that many small schools try to do, is they try to develop more than just the academic side of you. One big part of Walsh University is service learning and giving back to others around you, and also trying to understand the world from, more of a global perspective, not always being about just you, but being about, again, your local community and then the world at large. So one really cool program we have here is we have opportunities for you to go study abroad, for you to do some service work in different countries. We have opportunities on the US-Mexican border, in Europe, in the UK, in Italy, in Africa. We have a partnership in China if you wanted to go to Shanghai. We have lots of good opportunities for you to do that, even though we are a smaller school. We have those opportunities. And I'm going to go ahead and share one more short video with you to kind of show you what these travel opportunities might look like.
The Brother Francis Bloom Scholar Program was the initial reason I chose to attend Walsh, and it quickly became the best decision I could have made. Thanks to this program, throughout my 4 years of college, I've been able to create relationships with a cohort of like-minded peers, all while advocating for food justice issues and traveling the world. As a teenager, never would I have imagined myself traveling with my closest friends to countries like Italy or Tanzania, but that is exactly what this program allowed me to do. I've seen lions and elephants on safari, enjoyed pasta on the streets of Rome, all while engaging in meaningful conversations and connecting with members of the community. The Bloom program has given me a global perspective on worldwide social justice issues, as well as strategic ways to mitigate their effects. It has allowed me to incorporate the knowledge I've gained while traveling to create change in my own community. It provided me a job working in the Food Design Institute, under the most influential professor I've ever had, who happens to be my program cohort advisor. Through food forums, national and statewide conferences, gardening and community conversations, I quickly became accustomed to the feeling of, now what? Well, now I will be taking the problem-solving skills I've gained to my next step in life, earning my doctorate in physical therapy. I hope to combine my passion for food justice along with my career in physical therapy by advocating for increased healthcare access, specifically for migrant farmers. Though my future is uncertain and completely out of my hands, I'm extremely grateful for all those who have taken an investment in my past 4 years with this program. I owe all my fondest memories to this Bloom group, as well as Walsh's experiential learning mentors. Each member of this group has made a lasting impact on me, and I wouldn't choose to experience my time at Walsh with anyone else. You guys are the best, and I know you all have bright futures ahead of you. So make sure you stay hydrated, don't take life too seriously, and remember to trust the process.
Okay. All right. So that was a quick look at one of our global study programs that you could participate in. And again, this is something that many small private schools still try to offer, even though they don't have that many students. So it is something for you to consider. Okay. Here's another look on a map of some of our global learning opportunities. So as I mentioned before, we have opportunities in Europe. We have opportunities in China, and Africa, and South America, and then in the US and in Mexico. So many cool opportunities. Okay. And then residence halls, so living on campus. One thing we try to promote to our international students from freshman year is we try to give them the opportunity to have a kitchen in their dormitory. We have a special dormitory where we allow our freshman international students to live in, and it has a kitchen. So this is something that our US students don't even have the opportunity, most of them, to live first year with a kitchen, but it's something that we give to our international students so that they have an opportunity to cook some of their home food if they do not like what we have in our school cafeteria. All right. Okay. And then we also have NCAA Division II sports. So this means that we're able to offer sport scholarships. So if you're somebody who is interested in sports, or you're an athlete, if you play basketball or if you play soccer or football, then you might have an opportunity at a scholarship if you're really, really good. So our sports teams, they travel all over the United States playing different teams. Okay. And then we have many different student life and programs, lots of different things to do. Okay. And then for international student services, we try to arrange a lot of fun trips and activities so that you can experience American culture. So some things that we try to do is we have maybe day trips to shopping locations or amusement parks, places to watch movies, or go to places to play games. We try to have different types of activities to give you a chance to experience American culture more. And we also try to create opportunities for you to connect with American students so that you can make US friends, something that we're trying to do more and more of. Okay. And here's the important stuff. So this is the estimated cost. And this is a common cost for a private university. It looks very high at first. So in total, $46,255 for full tuition, for housing, and then for a full meal plan. This looks like a lot of money again, but then 100% of our students receive scholarships and aid. So nobody ever pays this much money to go to Walsh University. That's because we have, again, all of these great scholarships. So these are the different types of scholarships that we have. And as I mentioned earlier, again, small private schools, they're able to offer many scholarships to international students, unlike public schools might be able to in the US. So then the average cost is $24,000 to $27,000, which is normal for many schools like us in the US.
And that's a point, sorry to interrupt you, Zachary, yep. But this is a point of interest to many of the students who apply to, American universities. On average, some people receive more, some people less, it depends. But one of the advantages of private schools rather than state universities is that they can give a little bit more to international students. So sometimes people are scared by the total price, but as I said, they have more freedom to give more money to international students. So that's to encourage students to look into either smaller or private schools, which is a huge difference from state universities, right?
Yeah, you're 100% correct. So again, public universities or state schools in the US, they get more money from the government. So because they get more money from the government, they get more money from their state. The state, they want them to use that money on students who live in their state. So they don't want them to use all of that money on students who live out of state. So they actually have different prices for students who are international or other US students that don't live in their state. So it can be more expensive than a private university if you're an international student. So yeah, like your EducationUSA advisor just said, this is a really, really big selling point for private universities in the US to international students, these scholarships, because, you know, we want to help you make college as cheap and affordable as we possibly can. So this is why we offer these type of scholarships. So for example, you see our merit-based scholarship up there, that's from 12,000 all the way to full tuition. So we have an honors program, which Oscar, he's from Bolivia, and he actually won our full tuition scholarship. So we actually, in some cases, I mean, we pay for everything basically for an international student to come to Walsh University. And the reason we do this is because we want more international students on campus. We want to promote diversity. We want to expand what we have to the rest of the world. And lots of times you might not know about us because we're so small. We don't have so much money to advertise like a bigger school would have. But if you do some research and you look, you can find some really, really, really good schools like us that offer these great scholarships, and you can find a cheap option, a much cheaper option to go to university. So definitely do your research and look into it, because we offer great scholarships, and many other small private schools offer great scholarships as well. Okay, so the average aid that we give to an international student is 20,000 US dollars, right? So we basically cut the price in half after your scholarships and aid, right? And that's going to be based off of your high school grades and then your test score. And I'll talk about that next really quickly. Okay, so to be able to qualify for this money to go to Walsh University or to another private school, you have to, of course, first you have to apply. You have to look and apply. And our school, it's free. So we use the common application, but we also have our own application as well for free. So you don't have to pay $15 or $20 to apply. This is the same as many US private universities. So it's a free online application. You don't have anything to lose. You really don't. So you can apply for free. It takes 15 minutes. You know, we have many different start dates at Walsh University, and we don't have deadlines. We don't have hard deadlines for applying. So you have a lot of time to apply. We ask for your high school transcripts. We ask for them to be in English. We want grades 9 to your last grade in high school. And then we want one test score. So one really cool thing about us is that we will accept the TOEFL, the SAT, the ACT, we will accept the IELTS. We will also accept the Duolingo English test. You don't need to take an SAT and the TOEFL. You don't need to take an English test and the SAT. You don't have to. You just need to take one. That's it, right? Which is really different for many schools who require you to take 2 tests. So we try to make it really easy, because we know that COVID and coronavirus is making it difficult. So we want to make it easier for students to apply. So the Duolingo English test, you can take at home, right? So if you haven't taken the test yet, you can look into that. Many small private schools like ours are starting to accept the Duolingo English test. That test can be done at home, and it's cheaper, and you get your results in 48 hours. So this is what we require. And then this is how we decide if you're accepted, and this is how we decide how much money we can give you. Okay. And these are the average scores for acceptance, if you were curious. So on average, our students have a 3.4 GPA, but we will accept lower. We will accept students that have as low as, like a 2.2 or even a 2.0. It depends on what your total application looks like. but the average is 3.4. TOEFL 62 or higher. So as long as you have a 62 or higher, you can get accepted. SAT, we like to see 950 or higher. ACT 21 or higher. Sometimes it's lower, and we will work with you. Duolingo 95 or higher, and then IELTS 5.5 or higher. So that's those are the average scores for acceptance. And again, this is really similar to a lot of schools our size, like us. So something to look into for sure. All right, so we are gonna go ahead and stop sharing. This is gonna be the end of the presentation. So I'm gonna stop, and if you guys want to take a couple minutes to maybe think of some questions, and if you want to send them into the chat, Oscar and we can start to talk about them or answer them for you.
Okay, I have some questions that people wrote on the Facebook Live, so I will be reading those. Okay, para los que han escrito en el Facebook Live, voy a estar ahora leyendo. Si alguien tiene alguna pregunta y quiere expresarla verbalmente, puede levantar la mano y claro, vamos a dar lugar a ambas opciones. En el chat, can you read the question that's on the chat box? Zachary?
I should be able to. Let me see.
I can read it for you. It says, it's from Rachel. Rachel says, I was born in the US, but I am currently living in Chile. Since I was 4 years old, since I was 4 years old. I already finished high school in Chile. My question is, how do I apply? As an international student or as an American student?
Oh, yeah, that's a really, really good question. So if you have a US passport and US citizenship, you actually can qualify for US government federal aid, meaning that you might have an opportunity at getting actually more money because the US government can help you. So they can help US citizens, dual citizens, and US permanent residents. So if you're going to apply, you would actually apply just like a US student would apply. So meaning you would have to give us your high school transcripts, and then we would normally require an SAT or ACT. But if you're a US citizen, then we have a test optional policy, which means that you can write an essay, 1 page to 1.5 pages, and we have a couple topics that you could choose from, and that's how you could apply. So that's a really, really good question. Thank you for asking.
Okay, Oscar, the next one is for you. ¿Qué tan difícil fue adaptarte?
Bueno, gracias a Dios yo tenía por lo menos unos conocidos aquí en Walsh que me ayudaron mucho, y el hecho de que haya otros alumnos bolivianos me ayudó mucho, porque ellos ya sabían de dónde estaba viniendo, sabían lo que, digamos, las primeras cosas que iba a necesitar. Los primeros días son difíciles, sí, porque estás fuera de casa, estás lejos de casa. Pero después de eso, uno se acostumbra. Es bueno estar lejos, aprende uno a hacer las cosas un poco más independientemente, que es lo más difícil realmente, es hacer las cosas independientemente, que ya nadie te está cuidando ahí. Pero una vez que logras acostumbrarte a eso, la gente aquí es amigable, yo no tengo ningún problema, yo lo estoy pasando súper bien. Entonces, las primeras 2, 3 semanas que estás aquí a solas, cuando tienes que, ya eres responsable por ti mismo, eso es importante, es lo más difícil. Pero después aquí hay bastante gente de hispanohablante, que eso es súper importante, y en general amigable, que es lo que fue más importante para mí.
Gracias, Oscar. Voy a leer estas 2 preguntas en español y también las voy a expresar en inglés para que nos pueda ayudar Zachary. Nayeli dice, si tengo un inglés intermedio, ¿puedo aplicar para estudiar en la Universidad de Walsh? ¿Y qué nivel de inglés es requerido? La universidad ofrece programas de la materia. So both people are asking if they have an intermediate level of English, can they still apply? And I guess this question goes towards if you guys have an English program that would adjust, for the people that are halfway through. Y bueno, para los que están escuchando, lo que consultó Zachary es, estas ambas preguntas van si es que mi inglés no es suficiente, o sea, hay la opción de que aún aplique y allá pueda completar mi educación en inglés. Entonces, Zachary, you can answer that question.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So if you do not meet the minimum English requirements, and again, that's a 62 in the TOEFL, 5.5 on the IELTS. If you don't meet that, we have a partnership with an English school where we will be able to offer you a conditional letter of acceptance into Walsh University with your high school transcripts. And then basically you have to go to the English school and you have to learn English successfully for maybe 20 weeks or maybe 40 weeks, depending on your English score and what level you need to get to. If you do that successfully, then we will admit you into Walsh University and you do not have to take an English test. So you just have to show your high school transcripts and show us that you completed your English training. So that would only be with our English school that we have a partnership with. So good question.
Okay, yo voy a traducir porque por la pregunta, para que esté claro, simplemente ellos aceptan la nota, son bien amplias, o sea, del 62 del TOEFL es una nota bien generosa, no es un nivel muy alto. Entonces, partiendo por ahí, si es que no tuvieras esa nota o ese nivel, Walsh tiene un convenio con un colegio de inglés al cual tendrías que asistir unos 20 o 40 semanas, dependiendo del nivel que necesites, hasta que llegues a tener ese nivel de inglés. Obviamente, en ese caso, tendrías una aceptación de Walsh condicional para que ellos puedan hacer que ingreses a este colegio y pueda, o ese instituto de inglés, y puedas terminar tu nivel de inglés necesario para estudiar en la universidad. Y bueno, ahí Rachel pregunta about the TOEFL, que básicamente es el nivel que Walsh pide, es de 62 en el TOEFL, que como les digo, el TOEFL se evalúa sobre 120. Es sumamente generoso, ¿no? I'm just responding to Rachel's questions, that it's 62, the score that you need on the TOEFL. So let's go with another question. Flores Noemi, she asks about master's degree. En el caso de maestría, si es posible dedicado al campo lingüístico, ¿qué tipo de especialidades ofrecen? Does Walsh offer master's degree in the linguistics? On which areas? With that's the question that Noemi asks.
Yeah, unfortunately, we do not have a master's degree in linguistics. We have other graduate programs, but not linguistics.
All right, then we have Lucia, and I'm gonna answer this question because it's a little more related to EducationUSA. It's about like when to apply, and then I'm gonna ask you for the dates. So basically, Lucia, buenas tardes, dice, mi hijo está en la promoción, ¿puede aplicar? ¿Cuáles son los requisitos y a dónde se debe dirigir? Voy a pedirle a Zachary que mencione algunos de los requisitos, pero en la página de Walsh vas a encontrar los requisitos, que entre ellos está el examen, el ensayo y las notas del colegio. Puede aplicar, pero el tiempo de aplicación no es ahora. Si su hijo está iniciando la promoción, es un buen momento para iniciar una asesoría con cualquiera de los centros de EducationUSA, porque la parte más difícil es buscar la universidad, ¿no?, a la cual aplicar. No se aplica solo a una, se aplican a unas 4 por lo menos. Y para seleccionar cuál es la más ideal toma el tiempo, ¿no? En el caso de aplicar, cada universidad tiene una fecha diferente de límite, Generalmente es en diciembre. Algunas tienen hasta mediados del primer semestre del año, ¿no? When is your deadline for the fall semester, for example, this year, Zachary?
Yeah, that's a really, really good question. So for this year and for most years, I like to have students have everything in by June. But we will make exceptions to that. So like I said earlier, we don't have a deadline, like we don't have an official deadline. But if you're an international student, you have to prepare so much. You have to prepare for your visa interview. You know, before that, you have to send everything to us for your I-20, right? And that's the document you use for your visa interview and to enter the US. You have a lot to prepare. And especially this year with COVID and the US embassies, I think there are going to be some issues getting visa appointments. So it's always best to get everything in as early as possible. That's a really, really good question. So deadline, I would say June, but I will work with you on that. So there you go. Thanks.
Entonces, para quedar claro, en caso de que la persona no habla inglés, o sea, lo antes posible es siempre mejor por el tema de los trámites de visa, especialmente en esta época de COVID-19, que, o sea, algunas embajadas tienen filas muy largas o es complicado, ¿no? Entonces, podría ser hasta junio, pero si necesitas un poquito más de tiempo, podrías trabajar. El objetivo de la universidad es asegurar que puedas sacar tu visa con el tiempo suficiente para llegar a la universidad a pasar las clases, ¿no? Entonces, en este caso es un poco más abierta para Walsh. So, interesting question, either of you can answer. Is it noisy? You've mentioned that the airport was closed.
So, aquí las distancias es cercano, o sea, estamos a 20 minutos manejando, pero eso para que el equivalente en La Paz es a 20 minutos de distancia manejando, es 40 minutos, casi una hora, es lo mismo en Cochabamba, Santa Cruz, las distancias son bien grandes aquí, se maneja bastante rápido. Entonces, no se siente nada, o sea, estamos cerca, que es bastante útil, pero en sí no lo suficientemente cerca para realmente ver aviones ni nada por ese estilo. Tenemos bastante bosque, bastante naturaleza alrededor, más bien. Muy lindo, a mí me gusta.
Y la siguiente pregunta, que también es de Rachel para Oscar: ¿por qué estudiar Business Management en Walsh University? ¿Cuál es el campo laboral para esa carrera?
Entonces yo entré con Business Management, que es una carrera bastante general en lo que se viene en la área de negocios. Me gustó mucho, y aquí lo que me gustó mucho de Walsh es que te exponen a diferentes áreas de negocios. Entonces, por eso me dieron la oportunidad de hacer una doble titulación en la que estoy haciendo Administración, Management y Finanzas. Finanzas lo logré escoger en base a mis profesores, ¿no? Los conocí, ya conversé con ellos y vieron cuáles eran mis fuertes, qué me gustaba, qué no. Y en base a eso me llevaron a escoger eso. Y aquí en Walsh, la experiencia que yo he visto con los, ya sea estudiantes de finanzas o de administración, es que todos conseguimos un año de trabajo después de graduarnos, que es el Optional Practical Training, un OPT, que es como más o menos un año en el que se puede trabajar. Y eso, a pesar, no importa de qué titulación en relación a negocios, he visto que todos consiguen ese año. Y en particularmente con finanzas, lo que yo he visto es que muchos de nosotros ya, varios reciben ofertas laborales salidos de la universidad, dependiendo cómo te fue. Pero aquí en Walsh se respeta mucho la escuela de negocios en el área. Entonces, cuando sale alguien graduado de aquí, hay oferta laboral, ya sea dentro del mismo estado de Ohio o es que ya alguien quiera salir. Pero por eso yo me uní.
Okay. Esa es bien grande. This one is a big question. ¿qué programas de artes liberales tiene Walsh? So they're basically asking what programs from the liberal arts does Walsh offer? And I think that's a big list, but like Zachary, I don't know if you want to mention some of them.
Yeah, that is a really, really big question. There's a lot of different programs that are offered. You know, like we talked about earlier, you know, we have stuff in the sciences. We have, you know, your biologies, your chemistries. We have stuff related to the healthcare field. You know, and then I guess your question is more liberal arts. So we have political science and, you know, government and foreign affairs, stuff related to that, you know, psychology. We have theology, if you're interested in studying religion, and, you know, different things like that. Oscar, you know, you've been a student here for 3 years now, and I've just started a few months ago. What would you say would be some of the more popular liberal arts majors that some of the friends that you have study here?
I've seen a few theologies. I've seen what a lot of students do is that they'll pick up a major that isn't necessarily liberal arts. So I have a friend, for instance, who is a computer science major, but he was very prolific. He got his classes done early, so he's actually doubling with philosophy. So that's what I see. One of the things I see more often is that little like combo. But I've seen a lot of philosophy. I've seen some theology. Right off the top of my head, no, these aren't liberal arts. I mean, there's criminal justice and psychology. I've seen psychology combined with criminal justice. Actually, it's a pretty nice combo. But yeah, I've usually seen them comboed up like that. Really.
Okay.
I can explain a little bit about, like, maybe it's because this person doesn't know a lot about what the liberal art means, but basically, solo explicarles brevemente, ¿no? Cuando hablamos de liberal arts o artes liberales, en realidad es un sistema de educación, ¿ya? Que se basa más en el área anglosajona, en la que es un poco más libre, pero hay ciertas áreas que son fundamentales, ¿no? Están las letras, está la ciencia, y esas áreas, filosofía, forman una malla curricular que tiene materias requeridas para todos los universitarios, y esas son las bases, ¿no? Para que tengas una formación bien integral, no solo sepas de tu carrera específicamente, sino que también tengas, por un lado, esas mallas, esas materias obligatorias, por otro lado vas a tener materias de tu carrera específicamente y puedes hacer lo que serían 2 carreras, ¿no? Porque tienes muchas opciones para tomar electivas, ¿no? Entonces, es un sistema de educación al que se refiere el tema de las artes libres, ¿no? No es que es el tema artístico específicamente, porque sí hay ciencias, sí hay filosofías, sí hay letras, o sea, sí hay artes. Eso es una amplitud de carreras dentro de esta estructura, podríamos decir, de educación, ¿no? Que se tiene en muchas universidades en los Estados Unidos. Se basa en esto que es de las artes libres, ¿no? Si eso responde a la pregunta. No sé si hay otra pregunta más, pero hemos llegado al punto, creo. Estamos ya sobre 1 hora.
Hay una
podemos, perdón, sigue, Oscar.
Hay una pregunta en Zoom, sino creo que vi una mano por ahí.
Déjame revisar, pero básicamente no. Solo es una gracias, me quedó claro. Para los que están en Facebook y no se han registrado, voy a pasar el registro a Zach para que pueda mandarles una información específica de Walsh. Y para los que están aquí con nosotros en Zoom, también, por favor, estén atentos a sus correos. Se les va a mandar una información para que ustedes también tengan el acceso de, si les interesa, contactar a Zachary y volver y seguir investigando, y si consideran que esta es una opción para ustedes, ¿no? Poder tener la asistencia directamente de ahí, ¿no? Y para los que están en Facebook y no se han registrado, va a estar todavía disponible hasta mañana el link de registro. Si se registran, igual va a pedirle su correo electrónico, y si quieren información de Walsh, por favor, regístrense. Y bueno, para los que están en Zoom, ahí está el contacto de Zachary si quieren hacerlo, ¿no? Por parte de EducationUSA, simplemente recordarles que EducationUSA es un programa que pretende ayudar a las personas que quieran aplicar a universidades americanas en cualquier nivel, maestría, el tema de universidad, ¿no? En pregrado, posgrado, doctorados, solo necesitan contactarnos. Pueden entrar, googlear la página de educationusa.org y buscar el centro de su ciudad, o pueden buscarnos en Facebook. Cada país tiene una página de Facebook, pero invitarles, ¿no?, a que si tienen preguntas, si necesitan ayuda, puedan tener esta asesoría que la ofrecemos con mucho gusto y de manera gratuita, ¿no? Zachary, I don't know if you want to add something to this. I just asked them to register to people who didn't, who are watching on Facebook Live, in order for you to send them some information after the webinar.
Yeah, everybody. First, all of you guys, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to talk to you. I know, this is going to be a very, very difficult decision for you. It's a very important decision for you. You're making a decision that's going to, wherever you decide to go, it's going to be a part of you for the rest of your life. It's going to be in your heart and your mind forever. So it's so important that you choose the school that you really feel is right for you. So do your research, spend your time, make a good decision, definitely make a good decision. If anybody ever needs help for anything, feel free to message me on WhatsApp, email me, even if it's not about Walsh, I'll help you, all right? Because I really want you guys to do what's best for your future. I want to help you. So feel free to message me again on WhatsApp or email, okay? Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Oscar, you want to add something to encourage people?
No, solo gracias por estar aquí presentes. Y sí, yo también dejé mi email. Si alguien se quiere contactar conmigo para hablar de algo en términos más del lado más estudiantil, mi email está ahí. Y no, eso es todo. Muchas gracias por la oportunidad de poder hablar de Walsh un poquito, que eso siempre me gusta. Yes.
Muy bien, chicos, adiós. Los esperamos en un siguiente Facebook Live y webinar con EducationUSA.
Adiós.